move down Athlon's top 25 in the ACC, and we stop at number 18 with Louisville. Lamar Jackson winning a Heisman Trophy in 2016, scoring tons of touchdowns, 51 in all. But the offense bogging down late in the season with a trip to Houston against Kentucky, of all teams, who had a horrendous defense. And then they faced an NFL-style defense and talent-laden defense in LSU and were completely bottled up in their bowl game. But Louisville comes back with Lamar Jackson leading the charge in 2017, Mike.
You know, Lamar Jackson's going to be really talented. He's going to make plays there. The real question for Louisville, like a lot of these ACC teams that we previewed so far, the offensive line needs to play better. You saw in the bowl game against LSU, LSU completely dismantled the Louisville offensive line. Kentucky had their way with Louisville late in the season there with their front seven. And Kentucky's front seven, I mean, they got a really decent group on the defensive side of the ball, but nevertheless, you expected Louisville to perform much better in that game than they did. The Houston game a week before that, Louisville struggled there as well. So the Cardinals have a bad taste in their mouth, losing, 3 games there down the stretch that, a lot of people thought, at least with the Kentucky game and the Houston game, given the season that Houston ended up having last year, the Cardinals would finish the season a lot better than they did. The bowl game in of itself was a disaster just because LSU is so athletic on the defensive side of the ball, and they were able to really wreak havoc there. And that's the thing you have to worry about with Louisville. I think, them being ranked at number 18 is a little bit high, just given the fact that they're losing all that they are on the offensive side of the ball. Guys like James Quick, Jamari Staples, Cole Hekutini at tight end, a lot of guys that were prominent playmakers for them last year are no longer in the fold. The running back position's really up in the air. They do have Reggie Bonifant, the former quarterback, who's kind of turned into an all-purpose guy for them at the receiver position. You expect him to kind of step in there and help out. But, the question marks really lie with the rest of the offense outside of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's going to get all the headlines. He is the reigning Heisman champion. But, when you look at the rest of the offense, that's where the questions really lie with Louisville. Defense should be okay. They have a really athletic and talented defense. They are losing a decent amount of their production on that side as they did for a majority of the year. So you expect the Cardinals to be good this year. I think 18 might be a little high just because there's so many question marks across the board with the Cardinals. And you look at a team like Virginia Tech, a team like Miami, they're returning more production on both sides of the ball and maybe not as many question marks. But when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, it's hard not to put your team in the top 20.
Yeah, a lot of productivity lost on the offensive side of the ball when you look at guys like Brandon Radcliffe at running back, James Quick, who caught 45 passes, Jamari Staples, tight end, as well, missing from the Louisville attack in 2016. But Reggie Bonifant, you bring up him and his transition from quarterback a couple years ago when they were trying to find a guy early in the season and finally came up with Lamar Jackson. And Bonifant, an interesting talent where they try to mix and match him and try to find a mismatch on the defense, and it comes down to the offensive line. And you alluded to that, 47 sacks given up in just 13 games last fall. That has to get better. The defense was decent. A lot of NFL-type players along the defensive front for Louisville over the past couple seasons. They do have 7 starters back, and senior linebacker Stacey Thomas, one of the best in the ACC, coming back. A week 3 showdown against Clemson will loom large for Louisville. Maybe they make a statement a la 2016 with Florida State coming to town and Lamar Jackson and having his way, but most likely that's going to be a difficult challenge to meet this season with this group against a championship caliber team in Clemson.